So, welcome to this analysis of the top 20 public companies in the world. Today, we're going to look at this company, Lvmh. My French is worse than my English, so please excuse me for the not very good pronunciation, but I'm trying to do my best. Remember that my first language is Spanish, no? So Louis Vuitton or LVMH. Louis Vuitton is one of the brands of LVMH, and this company is the largest company in the eurozone by market capitalization. It's public because its stock is in the stock exchange, and I like to start with, of course, this person Bernard Arnault, and Bernard, and he was born in 1949 in Roubaix, France, and his mother was the daughter of Etienne Savniel, and she had a fascination with Dior, the brand Dior, and his father, Jean-Lon Arnault, was a manufacturer who owned a civil engineering company called Ferret Savinel. So probably they are related, the father of Bernard and the family of Etienne Savniel, because it's the same last names. In 1971, Bernard was graduated from École Polytechnique as an engineer and started working for his father's company. Remember, the civil engineering company. And in 1973, he married Anne de Wavrin, and they had two children, Delphine and Antoine. In 1976, at age 27, he convinced his father to liquidate the construction division of his company for 40 million French francs and change the company focus to real estate. And under the name Ferinel, the new company developed in specialty in vacation accommodation. By 1977, Arnault became president at age 28 of his company until 1984. So, after the elections of François Mitterrand as president of the Republic, he emigrated in 1981 and founded Ferinel Inc. in the US. No? But in 1984, at age 34, he was a real estate developer. And here is the point, or the changing point of his career, because he heard that the French government wanted to choose someone to take over the Boussac Saint Fréguès business, which was a textile business conglomerate which owned the brand Christian Dior. So, with the help of a person named Antoine Bernheim from a company or a bank called Lazard, Arnault acquires Financière Arraché, putting $50 million into the operation, and then Lazard helped him to complete the $80 million worth of the operation. So this was a bid for a government company that included several luxury goods, and then he became the CEO, and the CEO included not only Christian Dior but a department store called Lvmh, Conforama, and a diaper factory called Pédochet. So after he acquired Boussac, he started with a plan of cutting jobs, and he laid off nearly 9,000 employees in 2 years and sold almost all the assets of the conglomerate and just kept Christian Dior and Lvmh, the department stores brands. And with that money, with the proceeds of the sales of all these assets, he corrected the financial situation of Financière Arraché. So by 1987, the company was already profitable. They had profits of around $100 million and sales of almost $2 billion in 1987. No? So he started investing in a vehicle called Lvmh, which is this company that we're talking about. And Lvmh was put together by two large groups. One is LV, which was Louis Vuitton Maletier, which is like the luggage brand, Givenchy, and Champagne, Veuve Clicquot, Ponsardin. And also the other group was Moet Hennessy, which was Champagne Moet and Chandon, Champagne Ruinart, Champagne Mercier, well, I don't know how to speak in French, sorry. So the problem was that the two groups were struggling because one, they 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 wanted to agree to put their brands in this vehicle, but then they had problems with the direction of the group, no? And they invited Bernard Arnault as a third party, and he started to be the mediator between the two co-presidents, no? So one of the presidents wanted to sell the wine and spirits business to other groups, while the other group that had a minority stake wanted to regain Louis Vuitton independence. So he started to, because they put the vehicle together so nobody would acquire it. But what they didn't check was that Bernard Arnault, as a third party, he started to purchase parts of this vehicle until he bought the majority, like the big majority. He provided first $1.5 billion to form a holding company to hold 24% of Lvmh by 1988. And then later on, he bought with other $600 million, 13.5% more of Lvmh. So then he became the largest owner and the controller of the group that was jointly. And then also he did some political arrangements to do alliances with the two groups. So in the end, he became the one who controlled Lvmh. So Arnault had a different strategic vision than Henry Racamier, the then president of Louis Vuitton. He decided that Lvmh was going to be, instead of a centralized company that handles business, he was going to let the business to make their own decisions on their own, and they were houses with their own history, and the value of each brand was direct proportionally to the independence of control. So every brand or every house, they call it maison or house, has their own decisions on their budgets and how they handle the business. But at the same time, he established like a principle of shared advantages, he called, where the group's strongest brands allow financing for the brands that are in the growth phase. So this allows that the ones that are very solid handle money or resources so that the other ones grow. And with this principle, he allows, for example, that Christian Lacroix to open their own couture house, no? By 1988, and then they started to acquire several brands. By 1988, they acquired Celine and sponsorship of Christian Lacroix to promote the luxury clothing line. By 1989, he spent $500 million to gain full control of Lvmh shares, and assuming leadership, he began a plan to transform one of the largest luxury groups in the world. So by 1990, he divorces his first wife. By 1989 to 2001, his sales and earnings grew 5 times and market share increased 15 times. Then he married Hélène Mercier, a concert pianist, and had 3 children with them, Alexander, Frederick, and John. By 1993, they acquired Berluti and Kenzo. By 1994, they acquired Guerlain. They also bought in 1996 Loewe, Marc Jacobs, and Sephora. In 1999, they bought Thomas Pink and decided to open Lvmh Tower to develop a center in New York to manage their presence in the US. And they began to set sites on Gucci, trying to buy it hostilely, like hostile takeover. But by 2001, they abandoned its claim by selling its shares. At age 51 in 2000, they buy Emilio Pucci and Fendi. By 2001, they buy DKNY and La Samaritaine. By 2011, they acquired 50% of Bulgari with a transaction of $5.2 billion. So that's what they do. They do strategic acquisitions of very high luxury brands, and then he knows how to handle them and position them so they all add value to the big Lvmh value. And as I was telling you, it was the largest company in the Eurozone. He allows the companies to have autonomous decisions and their brands are decentralized. So sometimes you can see them as independent companies but with their own history, but they all report the value to LVMH group. And this is let's look at his financial results. No, this is tremendous. No, by 2010, the company had total assets of $60 billion, but by 2020, it almost more than doubled. So they are now 133,000 billion dollars. Yeah, $133 billion is the total assets. The debt, see, they are not necessarily financed by debt, see, because debt is only 10% of the total assets of the company. The shareholders' equity is $47 billion, meaning that probably there are a lot of other liabilities that are not necessarily with cost that are financing their growth. See, you can see here intangible assets that has to do with the acquisitions that they do when they overpay compared to the bolts and the nuts and the equipment that they have. And of course, because we're talking about brands, no? So when they do the payments of the acquisitions, they do these large payments that go over the nuts and bolts, no? And the mortar and the bricks. And for instance, we can see how they have been growing, no? Stores 10 years ago, they used to have almost 2.5 thousand stores, but now they have 5,000 stores. And you can see here sales by store that they sell around, in 10 years ago, they used to sell $13 million per store in average, and now they sell $11 million per store. And see, here is the profit per store. Of course, the profit is smaller, but what explains the growth is this opening of stores, no? That they are doing around the world. So, for instance, what I know that one of the biggest motors of the growth of LVMH is their increase of presence in Asia, in China, and also in Hong Kong and other places where people are demanding for these high luxury products, and that's what is driving their growth. See, you can see here total income that has increased almost 70% in the last 10 years, from 32 billion to 55 billion dollars. See, it is very interesting how much of their total income goes to marketing expenses. See, from 55 billion dollars of total income, almost 20 billion dollars goes to marketing expenses, and only five almost $6 billion, this is around 10% of their income, goes to net margin, no? And the growth is incredible. It's incredible. This is a very nice company. Probably they didn't grow more because of the pandemic, and that people started to keep more their money, and they didn't buy very luxurious products during the pandemic. However, the big recognition of their brand, I think, is something that is in the mind of people. I know that part of their motto or their proposal of value, they say that they want to do eternal products and that they are modern, no? And these products are seen as a symbol of status and that make you feel special, no? So part of their value is purses, uh, accessories, and baggage equipment, and they think that everything should be ready for use. Also, they have watches, shoes, jewelry, fragrances. Their market is people who buy luxury, no, and that have high income and that they are loyal and also celebrities, no. So their channels are a limited number of stores, which we already talked about, global campaigns and shows of fashion, and that's it. I think it's a very very interesting company. I like it a lot. I like the entrepreneur who is behind, how he is very good to smell opportunities and to be bold in his bets of increasing the value that they provide to to the world. No, he is right now known as the owner of luxury, and of course he's seen very skilled at picking up the big names. No, so I like him a lot. He's 70 years old. He's honest, prudent, meticulous, calm man, and I think it's very interesting to learn from the best. And Louis Vuitton or LVMH is clearly one of the best companies in the world, and I like it very much. So here is our last slide to direct you to our site. If you want to know about more of investments or give us a comment, please do so. Send us a message, and I'll be very happy to hear from you. Thank you very much, and see you next time.